Not showing up to a fishing panel because you gotta go catch a big fish window is like the most Fisher thing
Wait,
ever.
who is at a big? Who is at a window? Who is at a window?
Madjack, either 5 or V in Twitch chat.
Yeah, that's very understandable.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That is. Which hole? What is even open at the minute?
Oh gosh.
So many
Probably.
things.
Yeah, there's a ton of things open right now. Mora Tecta, Since Steeped. Madam Butterfly, that one you want to go for.
Oh, I want to. I did boots knife fish zenith the other day, and I was like, oh, why are you such a pain?
I've never had issues with that, but I'm sure we'll talk about it later. Aphotic Paraku,
Piracucu.
Piracucu, yeah, that.
Piracucu.
The Word of God.
Oh, Sweeten Ipeki is my current nemesis. For some, like, I caught a Bokuden, and that was my previous nemesis, and now it's Sweeten Ipeki in the Mercantile Docks in Yangsha.
Madjack's going for Armor Fish, which is up in 4 minutes. Yeah, I was to say that opens up at 1 a.m.
Oh, Armor Fish is great. Armor Fish is great fun. But yeah, I'm a bad fisher because I'm one of those people who I get fishing nemesises, and then I end up having to, like, I will not go for any other fish until that one's done. So it's like my fishing log goes really slowly because I'm like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you in particular.
Spite that one fish.
Spite that one fish. That one fish. That was me for. That was me for Astrotrivy for a long time. For some reason, I was just sitting there like, okay, I'm not moving from the pendants until you hook yourself on my rod.
You just stay there for days then? How long did you stay there?
Okay. First Lancet jail I ever did. My internet got knocked out for a couple of days, so I was stuck in Lancet jail for like 3 days.
There's maybe worse places to be. So, shall we get started with the fish tales?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the last panel of LunarCon. Thank you for coming around today. I'm Kyrie Overdrive. We are taking news straight live from Fallgourd Float in Marlborough. If you want to join the live audience, this is Tales from the Pond, 100% true stories about fishing, brought to you by me, Fruity Snacks, and Beans McGee.
Hi.
Again.
So, if it isn't obvious, all three of us are, I would like to say, veteran fishers. We spent more than strictly necessary in getting our fishing careers, fishing hobby off the bat. So, Fruity, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am Fruity Snacks, aka Fisher Fruity on Twitter, director and curator of the Eorzean Aquarium. I fish far too much, and I make YouTube guides on how to catch fishing.
Don't you catch fish IRL as well?
I do actually catch fish IRL as well, yes.
Yeah, he's been up.
So I do a bunch of fishing.
And how about you, Beans? How would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I don't think I'm nearly as cool, but I am also... Listen, he does YouTube videos and stuff. That's so cool. But yeah, I'm also, I suppose, a very experienced fisher. I straight up downloaded this game because I heard you could fish in it, so it's been my goal from the beginning. Very glad to be here.
Thank you.
I think you're cool, Beans.
I think we're cool. Everyone who is involved with the Eorzean Aquarium is cool. Yes, that's right. All of you who've come and visited, all of you who've helped out, all of you who've turned up for an event, you're cool officially. So thank you again for coming. So there's people were like, there are 4 fish panels? How did Fruity Snacks get away with telling people about fish, or what is it? What's the combined time of the panels so far? About 3 hours? We're gonna add another hour to 4
Yeah, it's been about 2.5,
about
3
3
hours.
hours.
Yeah, so we're gonna have 4 hours of fishing by the end of this hour, which is going to be hilarious because someone was like, can you even talk about fishing for that long? And then considering that Fruity was on Aetherite Radio recently, who said he could talk for 8 hours about fishing. No cap.
And we almost did.
And how long did you go for in the end?
It was about 2.5 hours of fishing.
Two-
But we also had like 8 panels planned, and we decided not to flood it with fishing panels, so we just trimmed it down to 4.
Yeah, just a quick note about the inception of the LunarCon panels. Initially, we wanted to reach out and see whether we could talk to LunarCon about hosting a panel, doing an event, doing some sort of giveaway. And we were like, we could submit a panel. We could submit more than one panel. In fact, why don't we submit all the panels? And I think we sort of did. The panels that eventually were chosen in the end and people chose to host in the end were the ones that were condensed from a bunch of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Including Fruity, you had your panel on lore. Toto had his panel on being a marine biologist.
Discovery.
And then
Miena had her,
I was going to say fishing
hers
101.
on 101, yesterday.
Yeah.
So all those VODs are available on this channel too if you want to watch them.
Yeah. So let's get stuck into 100% true stories about fishing. So first up, warning: this panel has spoilers for Endwalker. If you haven't reached Endwalker, turn away. This is not the panel for you, sadly. Come back when you finish Endwalker, because we do say some pretty spoily things involving up to the final zone. Just letting you know that now. I'm sorry if you're stuck anywhere else. But don't worry. You can come back to this VOD once you've finished. For anyone who hasn't reached the end of Endwalker yet, and all the information will be still there and hopefully still funny.
Finish Endwalker so you can watch the funny fishing VOD.
How many of you finished Endwalker so you could go big fishing?
I got to level 90 Fisher within, what was it, 3 hours of the game launching?
3 hours?
I was like, within 3 or 4 hours of the game launching, I was 90 Fisher. And it actually doubled out. It actually ended up working really well because you're like walking through all these high level zones, but you're a 90 Fisher. So if you have sneak on, I could walk through the final zone and nothing would bug me.
I got to level 90 in 2 days, but largely because I couldn't log in. Fishing, the EXP for gathering got really meaty, and then I was already level 90 by the time that I'd reached, I think, Thavnair, just going midway through Thavnair. I was like, there's a fishing hole everywhere, and then I discovered spearfishing, and I was like, oh shit, we're gonna be here a while.
Really quick, somebody is asking, is it going to be just the zone spoilers or story spoilers?
There will be story spoilers.
Okay, so if you don't want to get spoiled,
yeah,
come back.
Yeah, I'm serious when I say there's a story spoiler, quite a major one, that is quite relevant to fishing, and that every person who I've talked to who says that their main is fisher has tried to do this, which is the most amusing thing that I've encountered.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that soon. But
yeah,
yes.
we all share the same thought on this one, but yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about how fishing is a lifestyle and not a gathering class. As you can see on the slide right here, these are the Resplendent Tools. You can get them for completing your logs, your botany, and your mining logs. For miner, you need 220 unique items. So you go out there, you find 220 unique rocks, dig them out of the earth, find them. For botanist, you've got to find 340 unique items. You got to go get those plants out of the ground. So that's a total of about 560 unique items in total for both of these gathering classes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so for fisher, it's not a 3-digit number. we're just putting it there. It's actually 4 digits. To get a resplendent fishing rod, you need to catch 1,140 unique fish to get a shiny rod.
And it should be noted that there's more than that actually in the game.
Yeah.
You don't need to catch every single fish to get the rod. You end up needing to catch like all but a few. I mean, obviously all but 200.
A few hundred, to be honest.
Yeah.
With Endwalker, yeah.
So, if you're, and this is also like the highest, most recent tier, there are 2 other rods that come up during that progression. So one's at like what 400, the other one's at 700, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. There's one for at the end of Heavensbird, and there's one for the end of Stormblood.
Correct. Yeah, whatever number of fish that is.
And then there's one that's linked to the Fisher's Life achievements, which is the most 9-numbing fishing experience I've ever had to do. I've not even finished it yet. So that's based on the number of casts you do for holes of different levels in ARR. So you just
the number of catches you
catches, not just casts. Okay.
It's not casts. No, and it's not the number of fish you catch either. So it's not like triple hook helps. You just straight up have to You have to press hook 1,000 times at a level 50 fishing hole in each region for it to count.
And it's not just like, oh, you can fish at this one hole for 1,000 times. No, you need to find, how many different holes is it? One for 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50.
Each tier up to level 50, yeah.
Yep.
So it's something I haven't even gotten that yet either.
It's a lot of fishing, and it's there's some optimization to it where you can go and pick the fish with the shortest bite time, but that also means carrying 1,000 lugworms in your bag at all times.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I did this when I was on free trial and I didn't know what a miss was. So for those who don't know, a miss is the anti-bot measure for fishing. It's kind of debatable how effective it is, but it kicks in about 50 minutes after you start fishing and forces you to move. I thought it meant that you had to like straight up leave the zone and go fish in another hole and then come back. So I spent so much time just traveling around. God, that was horrible.
Wait, so when you were on the free trial, did they actually implement a miss?
You still get a miss on free trial.
Okay, yeah. I didn't realize that. So there's actually if you thought a miss was bad, there's also super a miss, which is when I think it's about 500 casts in the same hole. It'll be like, the fish are super wary that you're here. Do not fish in this hole anymore. Go away.
Yeah. That does actually force you to move, which you will run into because some of these require you to fish 1,000 times.
Yeah, there's
It should be noted though, rarely you'll run into that, and I think the only time we've ever actually ran into it consistently was
the diadem.
Was the diadem during rankings.
Yes,
because you would be there for 3 hours at a time.
3-hour lockouts. Oh, I do not miss those days in the slightest. But that's why it's a lifestyle more than it is an actual gathering class. Because as you go through the whitefish, first of all, these are your common rank fish. They don't require anything special to catch most of the time. What did you claim? What did you...
Master Fisher ring?
Wait,
the Master Fisher ring.
Wait, you've never...
So I was looking up the numbers, and I've never claimed them. So on top of the fishing rods that you can get, so fishing, this is something that a lot of fishers go for, is fishing rods, there's titles, there's minions, and then there's like the Master Fisher ring, and all of the disciples of land, at least I'm pretty certain, have
hand halves them as well.
But this is just catching 160 unique fish. I've caught like a total of 60,000 total fish, and I just haven't claimed it yet. So now I have it. Got it.
Congratulations on your Master Fisher ring, Fruity. For those of you who are in the live audience in Fallgourd Float, you can see Fruity has linked his Master Fisher ring in chat for all of you to see. This is proof that
It's
he's
evening.
he's off to start on his fisher
The
journey.
plastic fruity. He's just become a master
He's
fisher.
just become a master fisher. Just really quickly, if we are not a cult. We're moving on. We are not a cult. We're just letting everyone know we're not a cult. We may sound like it, but we're definitely not a cult. So we do a bunch of events as a community, because fishing is a community endeavor. If the past panels should give you any indication that, you know, we are a bunch of people who sit in weird places on the overworld, throwing bait, you know, thinking about the trout population after the fall of Dalamud. And so this I showed this screenshot to someone, and the only thing that they could say was, "You're in the fringes." But I'm at the point in my fishing career where I can look at this and tell you where the nearest fishing hole is.
Yeah, it's a giant river whose name that I can't remember.
The Veladina River. The
Yeah,
Veladina
it's a giant
River.
river in the fringes.
Yeah. When I went there, I thought we were at Tim and Beck, which is the next little river, but that's actually, at that part, it's still the Veladina River.
Well, Timmins Beck is also more of a creek rather than a river, and this is where things start getting really weird in the fishing community.
Yeah, we have rivers, we have creeks, we have lakes, we have bastions.
We have fish that apparently are caught in rivers despite being clearly caught in a lake. Discovered a couple of those.
Yeah. We go around to really cool places in the overworld, but at the same time it has this effect, like, these are people with shiny fishing rods all round together at one very specific spot, and they also have sneak on. So it's a glowing mass of people moving in one direction, doing the same motion, making the same sound effects.
Maybe we're summoning Voidsent.
We could be summoning Voidsent.
Maybe that's what this all
never know.
To be fair, this is in the Comet's Tail, also in the fringes. So we could be summoning Voidsent.
That's high on Aether.
It's high in Aether, yeah. Fun fact, the Comet's Tail is one of my favorite holes in the game, if only because it's got one fish that's there the vast majority of the time, and then the rest of it is timed. It's a rotating carousel of rare and different fish.
Yeah, it makes the big fish there quite easy most of the time. And
Like
the times where
90%
it's
of the time?
not free, it's still pretty easy. It's a good fish.
Yeah, it's a good spot. Actually,
That fish being the Archbishop.
oh, I have a story
Truly-
about the Archbishop.
So the Archbishop is fun. I will say, is it about the desynth?
It's about the desynth.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and talk about Arch. I know. Like,
Okay, so I
just go ahead and talk about it.
I caught this fish. The big fish in this hole is called the Archbishop. It is a medium-sized fish. You can desynth it. You can desynth nearly all the fish in the game. And Fruity said, "You should desynth it. You'll get something nice." I desynth it. I've got max culinary and desynth, by the way, because I've desynth a lot of fish. And I get a fine sand, and I genuinely thought he was trolling me. And I was like, "Fruity, why did you tell me that I could desynth this fish and get something cool?" It's like, I wanted to see if you could get Cane of the Round. And apparently, this fish, named the Archbishop, gives you a chance to get the crafted Thornton weapon, named Cane of the Round.
It's glowing too. It's not even like the crappy one that doesn't glow. Like, this is the legitimate glow
Yeah,
one.
it's
So if you
very
actually,
shiny. Yeah.
so if you see the Cane of the Round, and it's like a lower price than all the other of the round crafted weapons, that's why. Because because there's a secondary source for it
Yeah, it's
besides crafting.
yeah, it's a lot of big fish usually desynth into Allegan gold pieces or something neat if they're not if they're
And fine sand.
and fine sand if they don't turn into fine sand, my mortal enemy. They a lot of the time you will get an Allegan gold piece and you can go give that to the Domain Restoration or sell it for some extra cash. But at the same time, you can also get the complete dud, which is fine sand, or you can get something cool like a swimsuit, a minion, a Cane of the Round.
There's 4. So somebody in Twitch chat is saying like, that's I'm not gonna be able to pronounce this. Sola, is saying, I know that there's like a shark you can desynth and get a bathing suit. There is in fact 4 fish that you can desynth and get bathing suits from, and there is 2 sets. So there's like the blue summer set and then the red summer set, and you will get a top from one and like a bottom from another fish.
Yeah.
So it's like
You've got sandals and hats as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 2 hats, one red and one yellow.
There's a green one too.
Mm-hmm.
There's and then there's like, but it's like octomammoth, frilled shark, twitch beard, gigant shark. Those are the 4 bathing suit ones. Shark tuna gives a hat. Okay. So Olgoi Kuroki is a different one. It gives waterproof cotton cloth, which is used to craft the coral skin bathing suit, the leopard print bathing suit. That one's actually really good money if anyone needs it.
Yeah.
We could talk all about stuff.
I'm like single-handedly crashing all the fish markets right now.
It's great. Yeah, no, it's really fun because if you want to feel a sense of power, just go fish up a bunch of fish that are commonly used, like Titanic sawfish or unconditional. Just go fish up a bunch of them and then just start undercutting everybody, and within the week you'll crash the market and it'll be hilarious.
God.
I do it. I think Beans and I do it like for a living.
And this is why Marlboro's fish market is in shambles. Absolute shambles.
Yeah, because fishing is like viewed as this weird niche activity, so not a lot of people do it, so there are very, very few people selling all the fish stuff.
Yeah.
So one person has so much power.
I think the fun little short story for that one is Beans and I, before we even knew each other, apparently were crashing the Titanic sawfish market, which Titanic sawfish is used in the quest Beast of Brewer's Beacon, which is how you get the ambitious angler title. And we were like, I had just came off a great window where I caught 14 Titanic sawfish, and at the time they were selling for like 200,000-300,000 each. And so like that was 4 or 5 mil in fish that I made in like 15 minutes. And so I posted them all up and started crashing the market. I later found out that Beans was trying to sell Titanic sawfish at the same time, and just was like, hold on, that was you?
You ruined my income stream that week. How could you?
You really do have to, like, fishing is like, it's one of those where like you really need to know the market to make money off of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah.
So we're gonna move on to another part of We're Not a Cult. This is the Exploratory Ice Hole, and it's a finicky fishing spot in Kurthus where you have to be in a very specific angle, angling your rod into the ice hole. So there's, I would say, a certain difficulty if you get more than like 8 people in that one spot.
More than like 4 people, it starts looking weird.
Yeah, so this is when Moknabolo, they run a fishing event where they try and normalize Teamcraft data. I think this is the most that they managed to get round the hole at one point. It does look kind of ominous in hindsight, not gonna lie, because it looks like we're gonna fish out a void send in this picture.
No, the matriarch might as well be.
Yeah, the matriarch.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we might, as an aquarium, we might try and do how many people can we fit around this hole with an always up fish.
I would quite like to get at least 100 and see what happens.
It's interesting with this hole because it is so small. So we were talking about a miss earlier. So a miss, after 50 minutes, you have to move, like just a little bit. A miss's threshold for how far you have to move is just about the max fishing length that you can use to get into that hole. So normally, if you're just fishing here for 50 minutes, which is entirely possible because the matriarch is extremely slippery, you could end up there for 50 minutes, get a miss, and if you move to the other side of the hole, you would still be in a miss because you weren't moving far enough away. So you'd have to go over to the next fishing hole, which is down the canyon, fish there once, and then come back before you could actually like reset it. If you stay at max range from that hole, like if you just kind of inch yourself until your cast shows up, and then you do that on the opposite side, it is far enough for a miss to kick in. But it's roughly about like 3 or 4 yalms.
Yeah, it's really small and really hard to find. And yet
it's easy to miss.
It's easy to miss.
It's easy to miss.
Easy to miss. Oh, here's another weird hole that we that was a cause of much consternation, at least for me. It's when we went to Azizla. Did you know Azizla has like fishing holes? But this one is on the flagship. Not even
I knew that.
Not even on the ground, not even on the segments where there's water. No, we're fishing in what seems to be like the septic tank of the flagship. The flagship has a fishing hole. You can find a rare fish there.
Find 2.
You can find 2, in fact.
And the fun bit about this one is a lot of people like you can only fish into this hole or into this fishing hole into the waters through these like portholes on the deck. And what people didn't realize is there's 2 locations that you can actually do this.
I did not know this.
Yeah, I know Kyrie and I think Kroll and somebody else was there for this specific meeting, cult meeting. And I was like, yeah, like, which hole are we going out of? And everyone's like, wait, you could do more than one? And I'm like, yeah, it's over there. I just pointed it out. If you look at the picture, right underneath the word swear, there's a mob. It's like one of the Sphinx-looking mobs whose name I can't remember. It is right next to that is the second hole that you can catch into the flagship. And this is the wild thing about fishing is how many times I've gone back to a fishing hole and then found a new place to fish from into the same hole. Like half the Crystarium is like that as well.
Yep, correct. Absolutely correct. Speaking of going to far out places, we're going to talk about everyone's favorite big fish. If you're a fisher, it's the ruby dragon.
I love the ruby dragon.
So the whole inspiration for this panel was the fact that they changed a lot of skills in Endwalker for fishers. And as a result, some of the old skills and some of the old techniques you used to catch big fish prior didn't work. So Endwalker comes around, there's a new technique for how to catch this notoriously difficult fish called the ruby dragon. So it first starts with catching off a kuer, which is the fish whose fish entry is on the left. It's it's a big fish that appears during thunderstorms to clear skies? Cloudy. There we go.
Cloudy. Yes.
Cloudy. And then you catch that. You got to catch a big version of that, so you can have a chance to catch the ruby dragon, which is the one on the right, one of the legendary fish. It is largely considered one of the most difficult fish to catch in the game, with rare weather conditions, and is dependent on another legendary fish to catch. Because not only have you got to catch a fish that is hard to catch because it's got a chance of high rolling against you and not staying on your hook, there's like one level of difficulty above it. So this is Fruity's guide. Fruity, do you want to talk to us about this guide?
Oh, yeah.
And the response to this guide in particular when you posted this on Twitter.
So this was a bit of a fun one. So beforehand, Ruby Dragon, pre-level 80 Ruby Dragon had a very specific way of being caught. Because like for a lot of these legendary fish, there are strategies that are optimal for approaching the fish and increases your chances of actually catching it. But with Endwalker, they introduced Angler's Arts and specifically the skills Prize Catch and Makeshift Bait. And it completely changed how we would approach Cure. And specifically Cure and thus the Ruby Dragon. And so I've been working, because I make video guides on how to catch all these fish, I've been working on recatching the Ruby Dragon for the fourth time to remake the guide and on video. Well, that was taking a while, and a couple people were asking, so I just wrote it up for the Fish Cord and posted it on Twitter to basically everyone saying, hey, here's what the new, I'm trying to make a new guide, here's the text version of it. And somebody retweeted it, basically the response along the lines of was, fishers are more insane than ultimate raiders. And everybody was like, this looks like an ultimate guide. Like, it reads like a Savage or an ultimate guide. And everyone was looking at this, and there was this big shock and realization that fishing was more than just, you cast your line out, you catch a fish, you cast your line out. Like, there was actual thought that had to be put into
there's
fishing.
strategies. There's optimization.
There's strategies, optimizations. For some fish, there are even rotations.
I actually got into an argument with someone in Fishcord about this because I was talking about the optimization for sit, the sit animation in game, where basically if you sit, that adds another frame of animation, which in a short window can lose you time. Especially when you have the casting and reeling in animations to deal with. So I was like, yeah, now sit adds frames. You cannot sit if the hold is too short. You're shaving off your very important time.
So with sitting, like, a lot of fish you can sit for. The Ruby Dragon, it is actually not optimal to sit. It is to your benefit to stand when catching the Ruby Dragon.
Mm-hmm. You have to stand.
And also ocean fishing. It will.
Ocean fishing, yeah.
Yeah. What was the number? I think either myself or Tio or somebody came up with like a rough percentage, but it's something like 20 to 25% of a point loss if you are sitting during ocean fishing.
It was Toto came up with the point value, I think, for ocean fishing. I think you did it for actual windows in the overworld.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Between the two of us, someone's mathed it out.
Yeah, but looks great.
It's like a good number.
Yeah, for the vast majority of fish, you can sit down, no problem, enjoy the cool animation of you sitting down. But for certain fish, you legitimately cannot do that.
The
only two that come to mind would be... Oh, go ahead, Beans.
Sorry, I always feel bad when there's some poor sprout on the ocean fishing boat. Like, oh my god, you can sit while fishing. It's so cute. Like, no, don't do that. Please don't.
Because it affects your experience too.
We're gonna go and talk about sightseeing and fishing when you're done. So do if you've got a point to say on this Ruby Dragon, do let me know.
The one thing somebody in chat was asking, any other fish you recommend standing for? Naboth Saw,
definitely.
Yeah, Naboth Saw, Stephacanthus, going for sculptors.
Cinder Egg.
Cinder you can sit for.
Can you sit for Cinder?
Yep, you can sit for Cinder.
Just anything that has the ferocious bite, the 3 exclamation points usually is the bad thing.
Yeah, Rhomdolopterus I would probably not sit for. I would not sit for either, but unless you're hooking storm chasers.
So we're gonna move to sightseeing and fishing on a more pleasant note. So just a quick fact: most starter cities, most hub cities, have a fishing hole in it. So Limsa has 2, upper and lower deck. New Gridania has 4, 2 in old, 2 in new. Ralger's Reach has 3. Good luck finding all of them to begin with, because it was a right pain to find them. Kugane has 2. Oh wait, no, Kugane has 1. I might have missed.
Kugane only has 1. I actually mapped this out.
Yeah, Kugane has 1. My bad. This is a typo. Kugane only has 1. Crystarium has 3. Crystarium is a lot. Yulmore has 1. Old Charlian has 3. Razatan has 1. And the housing districts, Mist, Goblet, Lavender Beds, and Shirogane all have a hole each, except for Shirogane, which has 2. So you may notice that there's this distinct lack of the Foundation, Idleshire, and Firmament. Imperium. You cannot fish in Ishgard.
And Ulda.
And Ulda.
And Ulda.
And Ulda.
Notably due to the lack of water. Like, these are all aquatic things. Like, there are other forms of fishing besides fishing in water. There is cloud fishing and sky fishing. But you can't fish in Fishguard, and you can't fish in the Imperium, though we kind of are assuming that they'll add it to the Imperium. And as some people are saying, like, yeah, it'd be funny if they put it in the hot springs and it's like a leech or something. That'd be hilarious.
That'd be great.
But yeah, I'd also point out for Yulmore specifically, you can cast out in the base in the derelicts.
The derelicts.
But you can also cast out from the top floor.
From the canopy, yep.
From the canopy, and if you want to picture yourself casting off the top of a tower.
All the way into the sea in collusion. That's your line is going all the way down. Like all the way.
I'd like to imagine Yomorans looking out their window to see a fish just going up.
Oh, that's great. But it really is an extension of the sightseeing log. We get to see places that we don't normally see if you're just like doing the main story. And I think it gives you a greater appreciation of what exactly the devs do to make you look at the overworld, because there's so much that's going on. So here is me at the Dragonhead Latrines in Korth's Central Highlands. Now, this hole will never cease to amuse me, because you're effectively fishing in the Dragonhead toilets, if the name is to be believed.
Except it's not. It's not. I don't know if everyone knows this, but a little bit of fish lore about this fishing hole. It is only called the Dragonhead Latrines because they didn't want people sitting in it.
Mm-hmm.
And like using it as a pond.
Yep. That is literally the reason why it's called the latrines. That's it. And if you want to see this is just outside Camp Dragonhead. Go out the north exit. It's just right there. You'll know it's the one because there's 3 poor Elizan having to sit there in the cold.
Yeah, they're training or something.
Here's one of my favorite ones. So, Annex Old in the Dravanian Forelands. And to display this, we have a video from Fruity Snacks on how to do this. So we'll start playing it here. You're not crazy. It does exist. It's not a myth. So here you go. You leave the Annex Try in Aetherite.
It's a very short trip too. Like, it's not. This, I'm gonna kind of narrate over this if this is okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
This one is a pain for a lot of people because we'll see it when we get there, but you'll look up guides and it'll be like, here is the X, Y, and Z coordinates. You'll go to the X, Y, Z coordinates like exactly in a lot of these resources, and it isn't there. You're like, where is Annex Old? I don't want to be casting into Morn. And it turns out that they can have stacked fishing holes. And this is like the only place that they do this. But if you see those little platforms where like it's glowing, that is the other fishing hole. But if you fish off this random jut that you can only get to by flying, I think, then you can fish into Annex Old.
That's Annex Old. If you fish anywhere else, it's Morn. And you can see Ellis and Fruity here fishing, getting the fish. But this was a difficult spot for a lot of people to find, legitimately.
With even a difficult fish, too.
The troublesome thing is there is an Annex Old on the map, and the fishing hole Annex Old is not where it says it's supposed to be.
Oh yeah, it's in some very weird place. Oop. I don't want to see the video for Annex Old. I've seen it so many times. And we go into Endwalker spoiler territory. So, you can fish on the moon. That's a given. But we're not we're not fishing in any typical environment on the moon. We're fishing in aerochemical pools. They brought this back from Heavensward, I believe. Heavensward was the first place that they introduced aerochemical fishing. So you can fish on the moon in the chlorophosphon. You can get some nice fish, like a lunar deathworm. No joke. That's the name of the fish there. It's a great spot to just watch the weird things that happen on the moon.
The chlorophosphon is also a place where I think the MSQ takes you in. And yes, aether fishing was added in Heavensward. It's level 58.
Yeah. It's you go there for the MSQ briefly, but you don't really look at it. So it's just great. You don't even realize you can fish there until you're just like, wait a minute.
That looks kind of liquidy. Let's try.
Let's try it. Okay.
I think I was talking to another fisher on Twitter today named Innes, and in Shadowbringers in the Fae area, there's a lake, and if you try and fish in it, it will just straight up say you do not sense any fish. And there's a lot of places like that where there are clearly fish swimming around in the water. Like in the New Alliance raid, there are clearly fish in that water, but you can't fish in it.
You can't fish in it. Same for Gangos. If you go and unlock Bosja, there is a whole body of water you can't fish in.
Apparently, though, it has fish like listed for it. Allegedly, Gagnos has. There are fish. There is a fishing spot there, but they just don't let you fish.
Mm-hmm. So you can.
I don't know the full story behind it though. I'm just aware that there is a list.
Yeah. You can also fish in space, though more accurately, it's called starfishing. This is Limna 3 Beta in Ultima Thule. This one was a hard one, I believe, for discovery purposes because a lot of it was, do we just cast out here and see where we end up? Because I feel like when I was remembering this time, this was a lot of figuring out where the holes were because nothing in this area looks like water. Straight up, none of it looks like water, but you can fish here. You can
you can skyfish.
You can skyfish.
Yeah, like there's no distinguishing where one hole ends and one begins, so it's just you kind of have to find out.
Mm-hmm. This one was, I think this one was a hard one for a bunch of people to find because Limna 3 Beta is not the one on the other side of the landmass that you see over there in the far part of the screenshot. It's the one that's
Limna 3 Alpha.
Yeah, 3 Alpha.
So we get a lot of questions about Limna 3 Alpha because if you look at the XY coordinates for it, it is out of bounds. It is past the flying barriers. Like it is, people just come and be like, "How do I even fish there?" And it's literally you just run up to the edge of the island and just cast off.
Yep. This is not the only fishing hole where the space on the map looks completely different to where the hole is. If you watched Choto's video the other day, they're on the privateer stern castle. So that's another one where nothing corresponds to what it needs to be doing. Here we are. My favorite not fishing hole. Zodiark's hidey hole is not a fishing spot. But categorically, every person I've talked to has tried to fish in it. So what does that say?
I'm gonna ruin your category and say I didn't.
No,
I did not.
Did you at least think about it?
But I did think about it. Yes, I didn't actually try it though because by the time I was going to, everyone was like, "You can't," and I'm like, "Okay," saves myself 30 seconds.
But the fact that we all tried, I think, was the big one.
I want to fish up the weird Zodiac fish out of Zodiac hot tub.
It should just be like pieces of Zodiac as each of the fish. And there's like 5 of them and you have to catch one of each. And then you get the fisher's intuition and you just catch up Fandango.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Oh, now we're on to the best part about this. This is all about the overworld hazards in fishing. Sometimes you'll be fishing and then a fate spawns on top of you. There's a number of notable fishing locations. So this is Earth's Found, where you catch one of the fish needed for feast or famine. Occasionally, Odin will just spawn on top of you, and you just gotta fish through it. You gotta ignore the scary dude in front of on a horse clopping about and the ominous music. You just gotta ignore it. Fishing too important. The window's too short. But not only have you got fates to contend with, sometimes fishing up the big fishing zones can spawn S ranks. So the Western Thalanan S rank Zona Seeker requires successfully catching a glimmer scale. You'll see here that I have the tips from Faloop.app on how to trigger this S rank. Most of the descriptions are like, kill 100 things, stand in a place, throw an item out. This one has a complete guide on how to catch to catch glimmer scale. Just this entire paragraph of text is how to catch a rare fish so you can get an S rank and get some hunt seals out of it. Similarly, the reason why we picked Fulgord Float is that the S rank in the North Shroud, 1000 cast data, requires catching a Judge Ray. So if you cast in any of the water in around you, if you're in the live audience, and catch a Judge Ray when the window is open, you may have a chance to spawn 1000 cast data. If you're in Marlborough, it's open after this panel, apparently. So, if you want to try your luck and try spawning an S rank, stick around.
Chances will be quite low immediately after it opens, but it could happen.
It could happen. You could be the one.
We'll spawn it, and then we'll go kill it as fishes. Beat them with fishing rods.
Yeah. For the record, it is between the Eorzean hours of 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. You can catch it with a versatile lure if you don't have a wildfowl fly. Because it's one of those fish that can be caught with a versatile lure. Egg salad! These two fish that I'm showing on screen right now, Cinder Surprise and Ilad's Gone, they are two of the most notoriously pain in the ass fish to catch in Shadowbringers.
And it's just because they're rare.
Yeah, they're not even technically difficult. They're not something that you have to be like, oh, I gotta think of the strats to do this. No, this is just, you sit there, you catch it. You get your intuition, you catch it. It's nothing tricky. But the windows that they're open is so rare. These are all the windows from when I created the PowerPoint for this panel, all the way up until, for Cinder Surprise, it goes all the way into October.
That's just 10.
Yeah. And then for Ilad's Gone, you've got 1 minute uptime every couple of days.
It's about 90 seconds specifically.
90 seconds. So
1.5, yeah.
So there's a lot of, if this is the only fish between you and a title, or between you and a rod, it is immensely frustrating because you gotta wait 10 days, 3 days, 5 days. Cinder Surprise is currently on a 14-day vacation at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be going on another one.
Yeah, it's gonna be going another. This is not the longest vacation that a fish has gone. Duskfish in the Azim Steppe has gone for 30 days. It's gone for an entire month. No chance of casting a duskfish in that time period. Previously went on a 27-day vacation. So fish can and do go on vacation. It's led to some great memes and some great pictures.
It's been like Cinder specifically and just the downtime has been made a little bit better with fish eyes, but fish eyes will never make Cinder Surprise or Ayla Scan any better because they're legendary fish, and fish eyes doesn't actually affect legendary fish.
You just gotta make memes and cope. So the biggest one on the left, the big emote on the left, is egg salad, because autocorrect has a tendency to correct Ilad as salad, and we just have people coping for the best, hoping for the best. You've got Egg on vacation there as well. She's currently on
I
vacation.
like the egg provoke.
I like the
That is kind of what it is.
It really
aggro.
is.
It's big aggro.
Big aggro. Big
Aggro.
big aggro. Big aggro. Oh, I've got to my favorite part of the panel. Griffins are fish, according to the Ishgardians. So is this wyvern. You've got some really weird things that count as fish.
As I say, is this the part of the? Is this the next like 5 minutes where we talk about all the fish that aren't fish?
Yes, this is the 5 minutes where we talk about fish that aren't fish. So these are from the Ishgard Restoration, a grade 4 artisanal skybuilder's griffin. Yes, that's a griffin. Yes, that is just a picture of a griffin that they've stuck on there. And you've got a wyvern. That's also just a monster mob they've stuck on there. So, you know, the Ishgardians are like, hey, fisher people, do you want to catch something big? And they're just like, yeah, there's a griffin in the sky somewhere. Go catch it.
With a fishing rod, not with like a combat skill, just with a fishing rod.
Yeah. Lore-wise, like the lore behind, I should say, I don't know if it's the lore, but like the in-game context of sky fishing, which is what you do in the diadem, is sky and cloud fishing, actually makes sense though, because like you're basically casting out into the cloud, and effectively they are birds in a way. Even like the brown bolo, which is used in Ishgard Levy Turnins, that's it. I think level like 53 or something, like one of the early ones. It even says like it just hangs from underneath the islands like a bat, and then flies around on the air currents.
Yep. So pretty standard. You've got a plant that's apparently you can catch in the sky. You've got a chocobo chick. That's where the source of the Castaway Chocobo Chick minion is. You just kind of fish it out of the water. We interrupted its vacation. We've got an egg. Scary looking egg. We've got an eldritch horror. That's not even the worst eldritch horror we encounter in the game.
Oh no, Ultima Thule, I think they even said when we were talking very briefly on Twitter, having a conversation with somebody who does the translations, they even said like, yeah, we're outside of the real world fish and we're now into the what the fudge type fish.
Yep.
And we already have plenty of those.
Yep. So we've got...
I do love...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I do love the little eyes on Opopinia's print. They just look like googly eyes. I love them.
We've got a bucket. You can fish a bucket, and you can make a print out of the bucket. It's a circle. Not quite a complete circle, but a circle.
It's an imperfect circle.
And then you've got the Greater Serpent of Ronka, which is just the great serpent. You've caught a great serpent. It was hanging around in Raktika, and you've just caught it. It's a legendary fish with a 4 fish mooch chain.
Yes, we established yesterday it is one of the 2, and I'm going to say that tentatively, waiting for Tio to like slice me here. Greater Serpent of Ronka. 1, yeah, you're effectively catching a god, maybe. You can't desynth it, which is an indication of importance in fishing. If a fish cannot be desynth, there's a reason for that. Except we don't know why yet. We can not desynth the Greater Serpent of Ronka.
We don't know.
But yeah, it is a 4 mooch chain. So it's a Clown Tetra into an Uriops into a Priest of Yaxlaqua into the Greater Serpent of Ronka.
It's a
the
time.
Second.
It's a time.
That is, yeah, and it's only from like 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. or to 12 p.m. in Raktika.
Yep. Oh, okay. So just to kind of wrap up the panel, we were talking about our favorite thing in the game, which is what veteran fishers get wrong. So this list of names: large fish, big fish, large big fish, legendary fish, large legendary fish, rare fish, fabled legendary fish, and living legends all refer to different and specific things.
They are all unique and valid indicators
For things that happen in fishing. Just let that sit there. These all refer to different things. A large fish is the old high quality. A big fish is any green is it any green fish on the overworld at this point?
It is any green
Yeah.
background fish on the
Yeah.
overworld
We've
that
got-
isn't a legendary fish.
Yep. We've got a large big fish,
Legendary.
which
Never
is
mind.
yeah, it's old HQ. Then we have legendary fish, which is the blue, which is the last 6 fish of every expansion. And of course, you can catch that large. You've got rare fish, which is from ocean fishing. It's the green spectral current background fish you can catch in ocean fishing. Then you have fabled fish, which is the rare fish, which is the I want to say
Yeah, see, this is where people start getting it wrong.
yeah, this is where even I get it wrong. It's it's a fish you can catch that appears rarely, and similarly fabled legendary fish. Similar
Those would be the blue background fish.
blue background fish. Very difficult. Then we have the spear fishing appendix, thanks to Kyoto. You have small fish, average fish, big fish. Then you have large small fish, large average fish, and large big fish, which is not to be confused with the large big fish from the previous slide.
And it should be pointed out that if they add big fish to spear fishing, which there is a chance that they might, they haven't yet, but we could end up seeing large big fish.
We are hoping for it.
We are hoping for it.
Let us
Really
give us.
want it.
Yep.
Let
And
us have the
yep,
large,
so-
big fish.
quickly, before we run out of time, we have a Saint, Beata, and a Pteranodon wielder, holder. We've done the Ishgard restoration a lot. And I want to say collectively, I think that's the most sanity draining fishing we've done in our fishing careers in the game. That's
Oh yeah, definitely.
like, I think the only time we've collectively got as many super misses as we did was in the Ishgard restoration. I think there's a bunch of us that I think after the week of straight fishing, we just slept for like a day or so, because that definitely happened to me. I think Fruity gave up like one at one point because he already got it.
Yeah, my first. I apologize for the kitchen noises. My basic story about Ishgard was during the first rankings, I took first place on Marlborough after about 3 days, and then I just fought to hold it for the remaining 7. And then the second ranking, I just got tired of it about 6 days in, and already had to surpass my first tier score just to get into the top 10. And then in the third rankings, I'm like, I'm just doing enough to get the guide out, and then I'm done.
Done.
Which talking to most people was like, that was the right decision.
So yeah, if you ever want to experience the kind of madness that is Ishgard restoration, just go fish for an entire lockout and do that. That's
3 hours.
That's 3 hours. Yeah, 3 hours of straight fishing. There's strategies to do it. You know, there's ways to optimize this, or you could just stay in one spot and feel your sanity drain away. You can experience this all in the diadem.
It's great if you have that one Netflix show, or in many cases, in the case of the restoration rankings, multiple Netflix shows that you wish to binge.
Yep.
It's a great time to do it.
Yep. I watch all the.
To be honest, the fishing was the best part of the Pteranodon for me. I didn't do Ishgard restoration. I was not far enough in MSQ to unlock it. So I just did this afterwards on my own. Yeah, fishing was great. Botany and minor were terrible, and I never want to do that ever again.
Yeah, so if you're in the live audience, we are taking comments, queries, and questions after the panel because we're running low on time. But if you can feel free to come to Marlborough. We'll be hanging around for a little bit. We're gonna see about catching judge rays. That's gonna be great. We're gonna attempt it. We've already got people attempting it because it's already past 5 p.m. in game.
If you catch a judge ray off fish eyes, does it still trigger the S rank?
No, the window for the S rank has to be open. which is not
Yeah,
quite
but-
yet.
Well, but I mean, if the window is
opens.
open,
I think
if the
so.
window
I think
opens,
so.
Cameron?
I think so. So if you are in Marlborough, Fallguard Float, you can come fish with us. So just a quick thank you to round up this panel. Thank you to Teodo Tayun for his invaluable assistance in getting some of the more nitty-gritty off the ground. The Eorzean Aquarium staff for invaluable support. Fisherman's Horizon Discord, aka Fishcord, for letting me plumb your memes and your great chat. Everyone at LunarCon, thank you for attending. And then most of all, you who are watching this panel, thank you so much for coming today. It's a kind of nerve-wracking to be the last panel for the day, but it means a lot that you've come and seen us talk about fish for an hour, and we could talk for more hours. And if you want,
It's not even just the last panel of the day; it's the last panel of the con.
on the con, yeah. So I hope that between all 4 cons, we've inspired you to go fishing in some degree. If you want to follow our adventures on Twitter, here's my Twitter. I'm twitter.com/Kyrie Overdrive. We've got Fruity Snacks at Fisher Fruity. We've got Beans at Fishy Beans. You're more than welcome to come and reach out. If you got any questions, burning questions about fish, definitely come and give us a shout. Fruity's got a whole YouTube channel about it.
Yeah, I need to like put out
Come
a guide.
fish with us.
Come fish with us. Yeah, we are currently in Marlborough's Fallguard Float. If you want to come over and help us fish out a judge raise. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Hope you all had a wonderful LunarCon.
Yeah, hope you had a whole LunarCon. Do tune into the closing ceremony. Do watch the VODs for any of the fishing panels if any of the stuff that we've said interests you. And go visit the Eorzean Aquarium, which is in Marlborough Laugh Beds, Ward 16, Plot 59. We have every aquarium fish available for display.
And I will drop this wonderful news now. If you are in Europe, we are opening up an Eorzean Aquarium on Spriggan. So keep an eye on my Twitter for that. That should be opening probably in the next 2 weeks at most.
Yep. So thank you, everyone. I hope you had a good LunarCon. We're gonna end it there. If you enjoyed it, if we inspired you to go fishing, absolutely great. Thank you so much for your time and attention.